what the fresh hell is this?
Absolutely.
Here's the episode. This is born out of your quote, Julia. Where did this quote come from?
Well, when you say menopause, I just expected hot flushes. And, it's not hot flushes that I'm experiencing. Last night in bed, there I am. In the dark of night, heart palpitations start.
Oh my God.
And then, then I'm really hot, so I'm thrown off the covers. Then I can't get comfortable. The restless legs start, cushioning between them. Then I just get myself comfortable, and then I need a wee. Then back into bed. And, where did this all come from?
Oh my God. And that's the thing, isn't it? We even if we know about menopause, we're so poorly educated as a society that we think it's hot flashes. That's, women go through menopause have hot flashes. And yes, that's one symptom, Sally.
Yeah.
Bam to the ready. So that's one symptom, but there are literally tens and dozens of symptoms associated with menopause. And even when you're well educated and you might realise that there are more symptoms than just hot flashes, there will always be a curveball that will come left of field and shock you.
Yeah.
So, it's important to understand that whatever your symptoms may be or whatever is occurring in your body in midlife, it's like to be menopause.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, what this episode is about, just trying to normalise some of these crazy symptoms that we all experience differently, so that people feel that, they can acknowledge and accept menopause and then start to find solutions.
Yeah, I like it. So is this you, basically, is what we're wanting to get out of today's session. So we're going to explore some of these symptoms, and this is for women just to sort of acknowledge and realise actually there is change, and kind of we're just going to talk about what those symptoms might be, because what I'm learning is there's quite a number of them.
There is, and we've all experienced menopause very differently.
Yeah.
So I think that's a kind of a good benchmark, is what we've been through is different.
Yeah.
But we're all experiencing the same hormone fluctuations. So just to normalise it for everybody out there.
Yeah. So let's start the ball rolling then with some symptoms. Shall I start off?
Sally, off you go.
Yeah, well, I've got to say my first one, and I think I've alluded to this before, is bed sweats. I didn't know that was a thing, but lying in bed and feeling as if I've been in a sauna when I've not done anything. I've not moved. It's not hot. It's not cold. It's not winter. It's just, I am literally wringing wet, so much so that I need a towel to dry myself, was one of them.
That's super unpleasant, isn't it?
It's blooming awful.
Especially if you've got somebody in bed next to you.
Yeah.
Also experiencing that on your behalf as well.
Yeah.
And it can be really debilitating. Now, it's just hot flash dams at night. It's a bed sweat.
Yeah.
And because you're in layers, because you're in a quilt, because your body temperature rises and then it falls, you sweat and then you feel cold and then it rises again. So it's relentless. But it's a really common one. I hear about it an awful lot from women. And when I say debilitating, it can literally wreck people's lives because it ruins your sleep. You wake up the next day, you're anxious, you're exhausted, you've got brain fog, you can't eat properly, all these things but you've got to go into work and do a day's work. So it is a massive debilitating one. And, whilst it may not be the weirdest of symptoms, it's one that people need to be aware of because, it's fixable. Yeah. This is one of the ones that is really fixable.
So what can you do to help reduce those hot flushes during the night time?
So for many women, HRT will have an almost immediate impact, because that's one of the main benefits of HRT, which is for a completely different episode, I think. But HRT will definitely help regulate your body temperature, which will help with the hot flashes and your night sweats. But beyond that, it's just some basic kind of bedtime routine. So, not drinking too much caffeine because that affects your body temperature, not drinking alcohol, not eating too late before you go to bed. And then once you're in bed, wearing clothing that's appropriate. Yeah. Light clothing, and the same with your duvet. If you need 2 single duvets rather than a double one or a king size, that might work. An open window, having a fan, having a glass of water by your bed. and just getting up and changing if you need to. You can prevent some of it, and some of it is just coping with it as best you can.
Yeah.
Hydration is massive as well.
Yeah.
So there are things you can do, and the recurring theme through this is finding what your own symptoms are and then finding your solutions for them. So sometimes it's trial and error.
Yeah.
Just finding the things that work for you. If caffeine is your trigger, don't drink caffeine after 2 p.m.
Yeah.
So it's understand your symptom and then find the solution.
Yeah. So that popped up unaware
that's a nice
for
one.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, and again, I didn't relate it until we've been educated over the last couple of months that, so I travel, I go away to see clients. So how I work is I've got a little checklist of like toiletries. This is what you need. That's all fine. So I'd always arrive with everything that I need and have confidence that it was all fine, And this is just bonkers for me. I mean, bonkers. I'd forgot my makeup one day. And how?
And so you had a list.
Well, yes, this is exactly it. I had the list. I used the list. How did I not have my makeup? And I would read it, but not digest it. Anyway, and then I can remember distinctly talking to a friend about it. So the friend who I went to stay with, who luckily allowed me to use her makeup, but she basically, I said, I just don't feel as if I'm really here. I felt like weird. And I'm like, how can I? And then it was her mum actually said, oh, why don't you write a list? I'm going, that's the point. I've got a list. I'm not reading it.
So how did that make you feel though?
I mean, I felt as if I was going bonkers. I was like, I'm losing the plot. I really am losing the plot. That's what I thought. I just didn't know what was going on. It was really weird.
Yeah.
And I lived through it basically. And luckily, touch wood, I follow the list now and I get things in my bag that's supposed to be there. And I don't have that feeling of, I'm going mad.
So there's a classic example, Julia, of where awareness is everything, because you were aware of that as a symptom. We'll talk about that symptom in a second, but because you were aware of it, you are now more intuitive and more in tuned to what is going on. So you're extra vigilant.
Yeah.
So that's what we have to do. So you've recognized a symptom and you've put something in place because you've recognized it and you know what the trigger is to try and fix it.
Yeah.
So hopefully that doesn't happen again. That symptom falls into all that brain fog type symptoms. So, with all these symptoms, the main hormone is estrogen, which is declining, but at a very fluctuating rate.
Yeah.
And estrogen receptors are all over your body. Right. So as this is declining, you can experience symptoms anywhere. There are estrogen receptors in your brain. So your brain is a bit muddled. Right. Your nervous system relies on estrogen. So that's a bit muddled. So, what you're experiencing is a kind of brain fog. It's a kind of out of body experience. It's you're traveling. So whether you know it or not, you're a little bit stressed, your cortisol will be a bit high. So that's impacted as well. So all these things kind of come together and you just feel a little bit out of it.
Yeah.
Some people have pure brain fog where they can't remember the name of the dog.
Yeah.
Other people sort of just routine becomes more difficult. For other people, it's, things that seem so obvious, just not being able to do. But whatever is happening in your brain, however you're feeling, it's kind of normal because your brain is so dependent on estrogen. And if estrogen is trying to fix something else on your body, it just lets you down a little bit.
Right.
And progesterone also plays a role because that has a calming effect. So that can make you a little bit more flustered. So, what can you do? Not lots. You can do all the normal things, try HRT, some lifestyle things, but the awareness of your symptoms is the absolute key to helping you fix them.
Yeah.
Because everyone's solution might be slightly different.
Yeah.
You found your solution in this case.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah, yeah. Thank goodness. That's all I can say. Like,
horrible though, isn't it?
It is horrible. It is. It's got to be said. Yeah. So Julia, you've said about you heart palpitations.
So yeah, mine.
Are there anything else that have popped up? Sorry.
Well, the heart palpitations are just horrid because you're in bed at night and fine all the way through the day, and it's just as I get into bed at night and I'm trying to get off to sleep, and heart palpitations start, and it's really quite scary. because you think, oh my goodness, am I going to have a heart attack?
It sounds dramatic, but it's true, isn't it?
Yeah. And you're in bed, and it's 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 dark, and I think your mind just starts to overthink, and then that makes it worse. And as I was saying, I think obviously I am struggling much more so to be able to get off to sleep at night as well. So it can take me an hour, 2 hours to get off to sleep, despite going to bed at a reasonable time. Whereas before, I used to just get into bed, hit the pillow, and just go straight off to sleep. So that's a big change for me.
The heart palpitation was scary, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, it's completely explainable.
Mm-hmm.
Again, estrogen receptors in your heart, your nervous system, but it's the thing about symptoms, and we'll touch on this in lots of episodes, is that because they all kind of like come together, they all merge. So some things are symptoms and some things are symptoms of symptoms, if that makes sense. So your heart palpitations could be directly related to lack of estrogen to your heart and some racing, or it could be that you're a bit anxious about the fact that you're not getting to sleep. So it's driven by anxiety. So they're all normal, but the reasons for them might be slightly different, all caused by these two bloody hormones that are all going all over.
You think you're having a heart attack, then you're all anxious, and then it's like this forever decreasing circle. It's like
for people who are listening, that nighttime experience. There's not many women going through perimenopause I know who don't have some kind of nighttime episodes. But the reasons for them might be all slightly different, or the cause of them, or the symptom that they actually get at night might be all different. But that nighttime thing that goes on, whether it be night sweats, whether it be palpitations, whether it be anxiety, whether it be headaches, whether it be cold shoulder, whatever the symptom is that happens at night, the result is lack of sleep, and then that has more impacts. So trying to find out what's causing these rather than just fixing the lack of sleep with medication or whatever you want to do to fix your sleep, is look back and try and think what happens, what keeps me awake, because that is where you find the best solutions.
Wow.
And I mean I've resorted now to putting on a play or bedtime story or some meditation music to help me
relax.
Yeah, absolutely. And that does help.
Wow. That's good.
Yeah.
Like it.
But
that's
also,
amazing.
Yeah. But also aches and pains. So and then you start to think, has arthritis set in as well?
Yeah.
So far you're having a heart attack, you've got
arthritis.
Exactly. So
and chronic exhaustion.
Apart
from that, it's all good.
And I've been banned from the doctor's surgery.
So bad. It's so awful.
Yeah. So what's happening with your joints and your aches? Where is that? Where is that occurring?
So the aches are in the fingers and then in the legs as well. And I just feel generally achy, but more so when I start to feel it in the fingers.
Yeah.
And then you start to think, oh, is this the start of arthritis?
Yeah. I mean, and the truth is, and we've discussed this before, the truth is there might be some underlying health conditions associated with some of these symptoms that we're experiencing. And maybe in your case, or maybe in someone else's case, there is an underlying start of arthritis, but probably not. But I think it's always a good idea when you start experiencing these symptoms to track them. And we will put, Sally, I think at the end of this episode, we will put our symptom tracker link so that you can fully understand your symptoms. Track them so that you can understand them. And then when you kind of know what the patterns are, then you can take that to your GP and you can say, these are my symptoms. I think it might be menopause, but please could I have some blood tests just to rule anything out. That gives absolute clarity. It gives you peace of mind. And 95% of the time it'll come back and it is, a diagnosis of perimenopause. and then you can deal with that. And if it is something else, then you know, and you can go and fix that. So, arthritis, thyroid, B12 deficiency, whatever it may be, that can be fixed relatively simply, or it can be managed. But most of the time it is perimenopause, and then you can start dealing with that. But just things like that, just get them ruled out.
And why do symptoms come and go? So why do sometimes some nights I have palpitations? So I mean, I think we've touched on the fact that it could be some form of sleep anxiety that's going on. And then other days I feel achy and other days I don't feel achy. Is there any rhyme or reason why my menopause symptoms aren't the same all the time?
So there are two things at play there. The really simple one is, as your hormones decline, especially estrogen, which starts at the higher level, it doesn't just decline on a slope like that, it declines like that. So it is up and down, literally through the course of a day, through the course of a week, through the course of your menopause, it's just up and down. Sometimes you can have too much estrogen because it has a quick spike all of a sudden, because it kind of goes, oh, I'll just throw a bit more out there just to fool you, and then it can really dip. So that can happen, especially with estrogen and progesterone to a lesser extent. But then there are also things, and again, this is tracking. I sound like a stuck record. This is where tracking plays a role, is what's been different in your lifestyle. So is that the day that you had a glass of red wine? Is that the day that you did too much exercise? Is that the day that your sleep had been terrible the night before? Whatever. It's just thinking, well, what happens when I feel good, and what's been happening when I feel less good, and seeing if you can tie it all in. So some of it you can't do a lot about, but understanding that that's normal is good. And then some of it is let's try and work out what may be causing this, or what the triggers are. Because everyone's is different. I can't say this is a trigger for hot flashes, or this is a trigger for sleep. Everybody's different. I say it a lot, don't I? We need to own our menopause. We can give out the basic information, but owning your own menopause, understanding that all these symptoms are normal. Don't panic. You're not going mad. Probably not got dementia. You've probably not got a heart attack. You've probably not got arthritis. These are all normal. But just track them, take ownership, understand, and then self-help with lifestyle, or go and get some help from somewhere else, either a doctor or a menopause specialist.
It sounds that if you go to the doctor with the whole picture, that's helpful, isn't it? Rather than
100%.
And I'm just using Julia as an example with, I'm having these, heart palpitations and I think I'm having a heart attack. If you're just looking at that, that's not the whole, is it? Because that's just one aspect.
And that's when, in my experience, that's when GP appointments go wrong, is when the knowledge of the menopausal woman isn't as good as it could be. Because the doctor's knowledge usually isn't very good either. So you either get a misdiagnosis, you get a misprescription of antidepressants, or just sent away with, just in your case, just crack on with it. But if you go in with the knowledge, with your symptoms, what you think is happening, and what you would like to happen in that appointment, you're more likely to get the outcome that you want. If you just sit and wait for someone to fix it for you, I'm really sorry, but it won't happen.
And can you find that actually your symptoms it can change quite dramatically from being in the perimenopause stage to then in the postmenopause stage? So you could have completely different symptoms going through perimenopause, and then get to postmenopause, and you've got a whole range of different symptoms.
And it does happen differently for every women. I feel like I say this all the time, it's different for every woman, but for some women hit postmenopause and the symptoms pretty much disappear. For some women, they carry on, and the same symptoms sort of carry on, but at a lesser extent. Julie, you and your hot flushes sort of, we're here and now they're here, but they're still there. And then because of this, where the estrogen chooses to go, I'm kind of personifying it here, but chooses to go is where your symptoms will hit somewhere else. So where your body thinks it needs the estrogen the most, it will go, and the symptom will show up where it's not.
No, the other one that I've noticed, and I'm sure a lot of women in our audience will have noticed as well, is hair loss. So I've definitely noticed how much thinner my hair has become since I've been on this journey.
again, it's not massively common to an extent of it being a huge problem. All my hair's fallen out, but just thinning hair and changes in where the thinness is or how fast it grows, it is really not uncommon. This is one I think that it's really easy to kind of give straight to menopause and go, it's menopause's fault. There are other things in midlife that could cause hair loss and vitamin deficiencies and stuff like that. So, this isn't an episode on hair loss, but kind of go and find out about hair loss. Again, understand that symptom.
Yeah.
Research it properly, speak to a specialist and find out what your root cause might be. Because it may be something else.
Yeah.
Again, it's this understanding.
Yeah, it is. It's an education. So, Karen, what about your symptoms?
Okay. My big symptom that I talk about a lot, so anybody knows me knows this, was anxiety.
Right.
So, I went from a very confident, very chilled, laid back, personally and professionally, kind of completely relaxed about most things, and found that menopause changed me hugely. And I had this underlying anxiety all the time. And it was just, anxious about things like, was I well? Was my family well? Were we financially secure? What was the weather going to be? What's the weather going to be like? Is the chicken that's in the fridge off? That I'm going to make just the most stupid things that just this underlying worry about everything that every now and again would just peak into a big bout of anxiety and at worst panic attacks. And having never had a panic attack in my life, I've probably had 5 or 6 in the course of a couple of years, which for anyone who has them regular, I sympathise because they're horrific. So that was my symptom, and that's one of the ones that, was that purely menopause and hormones, or was it a symptom of a symptom? So my sleep wasn't great. I'd put on some weight, all this kind of stuff. So, I don't know what it was, but that was the most defining thing about my menopause, that I became this really anxious person.
Wow.
And I fixed it by acknowledging it. I'll be honest, it's not completely gone away. I still sometimes do find it pops up. But by understanding it, I was able to find ways to cope with it, and I found the triggers that set me off. Yeah. And actually, I look back and think, I wasn't anxious. Actually, I was looking for things to be anxious about.
Yeah,
because that's what my brain was telling me to do. It was like a cortisol defense mechanism. It's like, stop. And I did use HRT for a while, which helped lots of the symptoms. Yeah. So that was my big one, and that was debilitating, and that that affected a lot of things in my life. On a slightly lighter note, my other kind of symptom of note, which may be relatable to some of our readers, is the body odor thing.
Oh my God.
And I am a bit embarrassed to talk about this on camera because it is quite embarrassing. So for anyone who doesn't know about a menopause sweat, it's not like a normal sweat. It's not bed sweat. It's not the volume of sweat. It's the odor that comes off. And I recognised it the first time in a PT session, and I was just doing my thing. I wasn't particularly sweating. I was, lifting some weights, and this odor appeared from nowhere. And I was going to my PT, Sarah, if you're listening, which you should be, you'll remember this. It was just horrendous. It was like this sweet, sickly, immediate thing, and I don't know where it was coming from. It was just like, I was going, what on earth is that smell that is emitted from my body?
Oh my God.
And I think, what have I eaten? What have I drank? Anyway, it turns out it's quite a common symptom of, again, it's just, it's just your hormones are just emitting, different kinds of pheromones and stuff, and this smell comes out, and it's not like normal sweat that, it's an hour later or something. It's immediate. It's coming out of your body. God. And it's actually not even, once I got used to it, it wasn't even that revolting. It was kind of like sweet, sickly smell. But it was in slightly elevated cortisol situation. So it might be the gym, or it might be, if you, things like you're describing, you're just packing for something, or you're in a rush. So if you're in a rush to go out, it would come. I'm like, oh my goodness, the taxi's coming in 20 minutes and I stink. So that's quite a common one, which I'm not sure there's a lot you can do about other than shower immediately and warn your friends. I mean, I'm laughing now. Yeah, I thought it was quite funny. In certain situations, that's, because you can sort of, I think you smell it more than anybody else does.
Yeah.
But you can feel, you know, it could say it was now, I'd be thinking, right, it's coming now. Do I warn people? Do I keep quiet? Do I exit stage left?
Yeah.
That was one of the notables for me.
Yeah, and the thing is, what I'm hearing is it affects us more than it affects anybody else. That's the thing, isn't it? I just think the people who are suffering are the people who've got the symptoms. So I think the message, a very clear message to our listeners, is track your symptoms.
Right.
You know, like take note and like not to ignore it. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. You know, we all know, you know, most of us know that when you hit your 40s, it might be a thing. It's actually much earlier. So from 35, people should be looking for them. But as soon as you start feeling anything is off, and it could literally be anything because your symptom might be different to someone else's, be aware of it. You know, have it by your bed, track it, the frequency, the triggers, the extremeness of it, and just start understanding what's going on. And, you know, and you're normal. That's the message that I'd really like people to take away, is that your normal is normal. And just because Jill from accounts is having a different experience doesn't mean that yours is wrong, less relevant, and can't be fixed. Because it can. And you might be top of the scale with loads of symptoms, 100% they need fixing. You might be bottom of the scale with very few symptoms, but there's no reason why you should have to put up with them just because they're minor. You know, we can't fix everything, but we can manage and improve most of the symptoms when we understand them.
Yeah, it's really good. And I think, you know, for me, it's like I didn't trust myself anymore. You know, I just kind of thought, you know, I can't trust myself to pack what I need to pack, even when I'm looking at the flipping list.
And that's a confidence thing. So you've lost a bit of your self-confidence.
It's tough. It is. It's very strange. And Karen, you've talked about that, the emotional fallout. You know, what have you experienced or seen in other women about that?
I think sometimes the kind of emotional fallout, for want of a better word, or loss of sense of self is one of the saddest things. Because all these physical symptoms are going on, which we may or may not manage to a greater degree. But that loss of self is, again, it's, you know, it is to some level directly related to the fluctuating hormones, and then you bring in the impact of all the other symptoms. But kind of, you know, a lot of women say to me, "Is this it now? Is this me forever?" Is that there's a sadness about aging, there's a grief about the person that you were before. You know, you're 10 pounds heavier and your hair's a bit thinner and you've got some wrinkles and, you know, whatever else is going on. There's sort of a process that, if it's not managed correctly, and it can be managed correctly, but if it's not managed correctly, we're diminished, and we become, you know, if you think of the generation of our parents or the generation before that, once you hit your 50s, you were kind of consigned to the kitchen. And that absolutely does not have to be the case in 2025. It's, you know, understand, yes, you feel like this now, but solutions are out there, whether it's medication, whether it's lifestyle, whether it's being part of a community so you can all talk about it, or listen to us jabbering on every week about it. This does not have to be the reality forever. Yes, it's a difficult period, but it's not the period that's not the end. It's a period that's, it sounds really cheesy this, but it's a gateway to the rest of your life. You know, you've effectively got at least a third of your life left. So this is a time for transition. This is what's happened. This is the reality of today, and let's move on. So yes, you will experience some of this kind of grieving, loss of self, but you can come out of it with the right community, the right support, and the right physical solutions for your symptoms.
I'm loving that. I'm loving it. I did hear someone say that, and again, you know, you grasp onto whatever you want to hear, you know, don't you? And that's where you go to Google and go, Dr. Google. Anyway, she said, when you get through this, you become this powerful woman. And I'm just really looking forward to getting my, you know, my pants over my trousers and being superwoman, you know.
And that's so hard. That's so hard to comprehend when you're in the trenches, when it's all going horribly wrong and you've got physical symptoms and your head's all over the place. But, you know, talking to other people, listening to podcasts, reading the books, reading social media, finding the solution, you know, finding what's wrong, not just with your symptoms, but, you know, in your life. You know, be that your work, be that your social crowd, be that how everyone puts on you because you're a mum and a wife and a daughter and all those kind of things, is fix the things and then change your career, change your partner, change your clothes, change your hair, whatever it is you need to do so that you kind of step into second spring, as the Chinese call it.
Oh, is that right? I'm going to go with the Chinese. Second spring, I like that.
Yeah.
That's amazing, isn't it? Really good. I like it. So basically what I'm hearing us say is that we need to track our symptoms.
Track your symptoms.
Be aware of the whole, what's going on at certain periods of time, and then, seek professional help, as in the doctor would be the first place to go.
If you want to.
Yeah.
You may choose not to do that. You may choose to go down the lifestyle route, and looking at your nutrition, looking at your exercise, looking at your sleep. So much can be done in that arena. So much, and HRT can supplement that. Yeah. Or any other medication. But go finding the right solutions for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is that, isn't it? Because just the three of us here are so diverse, aren't we, with what we've experienced. It's kind of bonkers, really.
It is.
So is there anything else that we need to look at with regards to what will help?
I think we've kind of covered it. Your symptoms, it's often overlooked, actually. It's worth making a point of educating yourself in menopause.
Yeah.
First of all, and understanding, just don't Google it on Instagram. Google it go to my website or Google it on, NHS or the Menopause Society and find the actual factual detail, because understanding what's happening with your hormones is part of accepting it. Yeah. So often you can beat yourself over the head and go, I'm weak, I'm useless, and I can't cope with this. If you actually understand the physiology of what's happening to your body and your we learn about reproduction at school, but only up to the point of pregnancy, don't we? Yeah. And then it's all forgotten. So understanding it indeed will help you. Will help you when you're then tracking your symptoms to go, that's because of. So that clarity just gives you some confidence to move forward. Yeah. Then do the tracking your symptoms bit, and then looking at the solutions. And they are so personal. They fall into lifestyle and medication. That's basically it. But the lifestyle bit ranges from what you have to your breakfast to meditation to journaling to whatever. So there are so many lifestyle solutions. So look at your lifestyle and think, what bits could be improved? What bits would I enjoy? Yeah. Would I commit to? Yeah. What bits would help my symptoms?
Enjoy is the important thing.
Absolutely. Not all enjoyed. Not all enjoyed. Yeah. Gin isn't part of the solution. But yeah, so it's the more knowledge that you have, the more you surround yourself with people who are going through it and who understand it. You listen to other people's stories that ring true, then the better your outcomes will be. But you own it. Yeah. Don't expect your GP to give you the solution and then that be it. The more you own it, the better your outcomes will be. Yeah. That'd be my advice.
Really good. So just to recap, we need to track the symptoms, decide what we're going to do with those symptoms, whether it's medication or lifestyle. And we're going to attach the symptom tracker to this podcast to help our listeners to start tracking. Big, clear message. Is there any other closing comments that you'd like to make, Julia?
I think just to echo, just to track your symptoms and be, fully armed when you go to the GP, because, if I went to see the GP and just said I'm having heart palpitations, then the whole menopause piece could be missed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it is, as you say, really important to track those symptoms and take the full picture to the GP.
Yeah, that's great. Love it.
I think mine would be patient.
Yeah.
So whichever route you go down, tracking symptoms takes some time to understand them properly. So don't jump to conclusions and go, it's hot flashes. There we go. So, really be patient in tracking your symptoms. Be patient when you look at your solutions. HRT can take time to bed in, and you may need tweaks to your prescription. Yeah. And on the lifestyle, if you take up strength training or take up a new nutritional protocol to support your hormones, it's not going to work in 48 hours.
Yeah.
And so many women go, I've tried this. No, you haven't.
Yeah.
You actually need to let it bed in, because this is a long-term solution for a long time, for the rest of your life. So be patient.
Yeah, I love that. Be patient. And for me, I just think if this episode has really helped someone feel like a aha moment and not as alone as they may be feeling right now, and that's great. And I guess just to close, the call to action is, if you hear anybody saying, I've got these symptoms, perhaps, direct them to this podcast so that they can just, hear about it and just, put their mind a little bit more at ease and not be thinking that they're having a heart attack or have got arthritis or whatever.
And let's normalise the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you.
Thank you. Love that. Great episode. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All good.
Symptoms.
Thanks.